And now everyone that you loved is a pile of skin and bones. I don't wanna be so matter of fact, but if you call me out, then I will call you back with a mouth of fire. You look at me like a belligerent. When I walk, I swing like an elephant. And you were rubbing your head like you can't understand.
Sweet as. My name's Jack MUZAK from Osaka Punch. We're a little alternative rock funk metal band from Brisbane, and we're just about to release an album called Mixed Ape, which comes out on Monday the 4th of September. We're counting the days, and it's just going to have a whole eclectic mix of all the types of music that we like to listen to and play.
Beautiful, Jack. Thanks for joining us tonight, brother.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So the Osaka Punch will finally release what I believe is your debut full-length album when Mixed Ape hits the streets on September 4th. So it's been a while coming.
It is a bit. Yeah, so we had an album, the first album that we did, debut album, which was Voodoo Machines. That actually recorded as another band when we were Kidney Thieves. So ages and ages and ages ago, we were a band called the Kidney Thieves, and then another band called Kidney Thieves tried to sue us and threatened to kick us off the face of the planet. And so we had to change our name, and we changed it just as we were releasing that album. And also just as we were moving overseas to the UK. So it kind of was all like pretty bad timing. So we went overseas, released the album as Osaka Punch, and then while we were in the UK, we recorded an EP. And then that was done in Liverpool, and then we released that basically when we got back from the UK. So we're not very smart at how to release things. It's like, here, have this. See you later. We're going somewhere else. And then, all right, we recorded. See you later. Bye, bye, bye. We're going to release another one. So this is the first one that we're actually going to we've recorded it in Brisbane. We're releasing it. We're touring it. We're doing it right. We're finally going to actually have something to, an album to tour properly, which is cool.
And is the time frame more because you're a perfectionist when it comes to music, or is it just because you're slackasses?
It's, a lot of both, really. So we do take a while to write the songs, but then we sort of record them ourselves. So the problem with recording it yourselves is that you can always go back in and change stuff, and the more you listen to it, you're like, oh, maybe I should have done that, maybe we could add this, and maybe we could add that. Whereas if you just book a studio for 2 weeks or a month and go in and you record it, then it's done, and your engineer goes, no, fuck off, it's done. You can't put a banjo in there, it's done. And so but another thing, on top of that, so we've had 3 kids in the band since writing and recording this album. COVID sort of took the wind out a little bit. That was because some of the songs were recorded before, a lot of them were written before. We were in the process of recording when COVID hit. During COVID, myself and the guitarist had a kid each, and then with lockdowns and stuff, we were really getting to. So that did knock a little bit of the wind out of ourselves. And then the other thing was that the only time we had to record, because we all work and have kids, was Tuesday nights. And so we were recording on Tuesday nights, but then if there was a tour coming up, and we had a few of those, so we managed to get on the Butterfly Effect, Cog, Sunk Lotto, Mammal, so 4 different sort of Australia-wide tours. So then all those recording nights turned into rehearsal nights. And, that's the nature of the beast. But you can only get away one night a week because we're all, grown adults and have to change diapers and stuff, unfortunately. Yeah, so months and months and months of that was just rehearsing and getting sets together and then trying to kind of write in between. So it has been busy, but I'm not going to lie, we are fucking lazy. That's
exactly what
yeah.
I know this is going to be difficult, mate, because you guys have got so much going on musically, but tell us a bit more about Mixed Ape from a musical point of view and what you were going for with it.
So, there's a whole bunch of songs that sort of didn't make it onto this album, which will make it onto the next one. So the ones that made onto this one, first of all, we wanted it to show the eclectic nature of the band. We wanted to show sort of all the different facets that we do. Every song has either been written by like one different member and then added to by others, or written entirely by all four members, which kind of is what gives it that sort of like makes it all sound so different. So for example, Too Old for This Shit, I basically wrote that on a computer with the vocals and everything, and then the big band swing jazz section I got a mate of mine from the Jazz Music Institute, JMI, to arrange the big band section. So that song was almost like entirely written by myself and Travis Jenkins, who's like an absolute jazz genius. And then the boys sort of like put their own flair onto it. But other songs like Heckle and Jive, which is the last track instrumental, we basically all just like put our brains in together and like wrote it completely together. And the good thing about different sort of brains on it is that we listen to different music. That's if we listen to the same band, and it would probably just sound like the same band. But because I listen to funk, a lot of funk and soul, and more on the jazz spectrum. The bass player listens to a lot heavier stuff, a lot of instrumental stuff. Crispy, the guitarist, listens to like literally everything, but a lot more metal, grunty guitars. It kind of just brings it all together into this really weird eclectic mix, which is cool. So yeah, I would just say, actually, to be honest, I would say the songs that were ready first were the ones that made it on the album. I'd like to say there was a lot of thought that went into it, but I was like, they're ready, let's do it, let's fucking get it out there, Sorry, am I allowed to swear on this?
Mate, if you didn't, I'd hang up on you.
Hey, good.
So you've been releasing singles from the album since 2017 with How We Operate, but you've also got Drones, Hall of Shame, and the recently released Simulate. So which one comes closest to reflecting the overall sound of the album, would you say?
I reckon probably the first one, probably How We Operate. I reckon for me, that's like got all the little bits of genres and types of music that we like to put in songs. So it's got like funky verses, a heavy chorus, a big kind of like sweeping melodic bridge. So that's almost like if I was to try and write a template for how we would want to sound, that song nails it. But then, Drones has a lot more of a serious, dark, kind of heavy vibe, which we also tend to have as well. And then Simulates just a whole other creature for me. Like that was a whole new sound for us. I thought it's a lot more laid back, a lot more down tempo. The vocals are a lot more melodic. So yeah, I don't want to ever say that there's any sound that we really want to just go with, because I never want to say, oh, this is us, and then kind of put ourselves in a box. I always want to be able to. We've got what I love about our band and what we've done in the past is that we literally do a thing now. People will be like, oh yeah, that tracks. You know what I mean? There's nothing we'll do. People will be like, oh no, you can't do that. We can, because we've already done so much stupid shit, that people, no matter what we do, we're free to do whatever we want, which I actually love. But I would say probably How We Operate is the best example of what's to come from the album, I reckon. Well, you've heard it. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I reckon so too, mate. It's actually got a lot more of a sort of a jazz blues lounge sort of feel to it in parts than I expected, but that's really cool. Like I love that sound. Like one thing I've always loved about you guys is, like you say, like you can go from full balls out metal to fucking acapelco jazz sound and shit just like that, and you fucking nail it. Like it doesn't sound good. And the album's got that all through it, mate. I think it's brilliant. It's really good.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Eve. Glad to think so.
And, so we'll get on to Simulate too, which was the last one released. Like it's different in the fact that it didn't come with a film clip, which is one of your strengths normally, your film clips. Like what happened there? Was it just a time-consuming thing, or you couldn't think of anything to go with it, or?
No, it's in the works. It's just taking longer than we expected. So yeah, it's in the works. That one's coming. And we've actually already done a film clip for another track. So it was sort of like we wanted to do 3 film clips for this album. The one that got done the quickest, unfortunately, wasn't Simulate, but we kind of just wanted to release Simulate first, and we're like, let's just get out there, because it's like probably, I don't know, it's one of my favorite songs off the album in terms of maturity, like musical maturity. and we're like, you know what? We don't know. We don't know what the fuck we're doing. Who does know what they're doing? So we're like, whatever. Like we'll release it. If people like it, they like it. And then when the film clip comes out, we can get it out there. And one thing too, so the other film clip that we're about to drop, just after the album releases, is for Kamikaze. But I always find that if you hear a song for the first time when you're watching the film clip, you don't even really hear the song.
Exactly.
I always like to listen to a song first, get time to digest it, and then the film clip, and you can actually share the film clip for what it is and what do you hear the song. And I was actually at a party on the weekend. I had like the new film clip for the new song, and I just showed one of my mates because we were in party mode, and he watched it. He was cracking up. It's I'm really proud of this film clip. It's cracking up. And afterwards, he goes, yeah, the only problem with that film clip is I don't know. I didn't even hear the song. So you know what I mean? Like there's just so much stupid shit going on in front of me that I wasn't even like using my ears. So we are gonna so after the album drops, we're gonna put the film clip out maybe a week or two afterwards, just to kind of like let people give them a visual cue. But yeah, Simulate's coming soon for sure.
Very good. And another thing about you guys in your film clips is your for want of a better word, the big black dildo that appears. Like, is that a theme on the new videos, or has that been put in the moment?
Actually, yeah, no, it's not on the new one. I didn't even, but it is in the album artwork. It did actually sneak its sexy little black way into the artwork. It's just a little Easter egg, but we didn't even really think of it for this one. It was kind of just always a little accident that it happened to be when we were shooting stuff. So it was just like it just happened. It actually was a bottle opener. So a dildo on the back end of it was a bottle opener, and I bought it in Greece, and it was just this like massive dong bottle opener. And so it was just like it was always around the house. It was always the perfect prop. I actually don't even know where it is now, but maybe I'll just go and buy a black dildo for myself, and then I can throw it into the next film clips. Yeah.
Video though.
Yeah.
There's also a bit of an urban myth or legend behind the Mixed Ape album as well. So can you go into a bit greater detail for that for us?
Yeah. So Mixed Ape is actually a group of heroes. So the EP that we released a long time ago now, maybe 10 years ago, maybe less, maybe 7 years ago, was called Death Monster Super Squad. And each track of that album had its own villain with the name of the track. And so we've got this amazing artist that we've worked with for a while. And basically, I just gave him the titles of each track, that EP. He just created this villain out of those names. And you can find them all on our website. They're fucking awesome. So there's Make the Call, there's Stonk, there's all these different guys. And then we wrote like a full description about each of these villains. Oh, yeah. They're the villains, and then Mixed Ape is the heroes. So one day, if we get the time ever, we'll write our own comic book, which will be Mixed Ape versus the Death Monster Super Squad. And Reggie actually came up with the idea for each one of the apes to be one of us. So reflected by our own personalities or our physical characteristics. So I'm a chimpanzee. This is all in the artwork too. So when you get the album artwork, you'll be able to see each of these apes, and then on the front cover as well, which I think is available now as well. So Reggie, who's the bass player, he's a pretty solid dude. He's a silverback gorilla. Crispy, who's a skinny little weedy little guy with a lot of venom when you see him on stage. He's a gibbon. And then Blair, who's a big ginger, he's the orangutan. So when you see the artwork, you'll see all the resemblance between us and the characters. And then one day, if we get our shit together, we'll actually do like a comic book, which will be the Mixed Ape versus all the characters from the EP Death Monster Super Squad.
Okay, that'll be awesome.
Hopefully.
One day, when you get your shit together.
Yeah, and there'll be plenty of dildos ahoy for you in that one, mate.
Thanks, bud. I'll be keeping an eye out for it.
Yeah.
You touched on this earlier on, man, but there's a mixture of, like, in your music, you've got funk, pop, metal, there's rock, there's jazz, there's everything. So how do you get the balance right in the creative process? Like, have you got limits that you send for yourself, or how do you know when you gone too far with one? Or
I don't think we've ever even thought about it, eh? We just like, is there too far? I don't think there is a too far.
right
Like,
on?
because we've listened to bands like, yeah, you listen to like Mr. Bungle or Frank Zappa and stuff like that, and they took it so much more to so much more extremes than we have. So I feel like if anything, we could probably push it further. In the writing process, we just go with what sounds good to our ears. Do you know what I mean? We'll just play something and like we're like, fuck this, this needs that. Or sometimes you'll have some, like for example, Simulate, where we had written like a lot of it. At that point, we were like, we do need to make this heavier. You can literally hear halfway through the song where we step on the gas and make it heavy. So you have a little bit of like, oh man, I think we need a bit more of this or a bit more of that. But we generally don't overthink it or go, oh no, we can't possibly do that. That's too funky. Like said no one ever. That's like, that's impossible. Or no, that's too heavy. No, you can't say that. You want it heavier, you want it funkier, you want it more if you can. So yeah, that's yeah, I guess that's if that's an answer.
That's as close as we're going to get to serious out of you, I think. Now, to celebrate the album, you got the Mixed Ape tour, which kicks off in Brisbane on September 29th, then goes through Adelaide, Perth, Sydney, Canberra, Cairns, Townsville, Hobart, Melbourne, and finishes on the Sunshine Coast on December 2nd. So that's a lot of shows, bro, for a band who hasn't done much touring lately.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. We did a little mini tour at the start of the year, which was literally just to like stretch the gig muscles, just see how we're doing in terms of like numbers and fans. So we did that was our first headline tour in quite. We've been doing opening and support tours over the last 7-8 years, but this one will be like a nice big one. The biggest balancing act is like being dads, like now that we've got kids, and a lot of the times, you work during the week and the weekend is the only time you ever see your kids and get to have family time. So that will be the big challenge. Yeah.
I got 2 kids of my own. I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know how it is. Yeah. So needless to say, I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah.
Osaka Punch have always been a band that delivers and more when it comes to your live shows, bro. So what can we expect from this time? I'm sure you got something you're going to pull out of one of those gold sleeves of yours.
Yeah, we got a couple of little moves. I've been practicing a couple of actual special moves. I did have for the last tour what I called an anti-gravity jizz cannon, which I pulled out at one point, which was like, it's hard to describe. It was like a little thing that like had this. It's really hard to describe. It looked like jizz flying out of a cannon, defying gravity. It does what it says on the tin. Which I was looking forward to now, and this tour broke it on the last tour. So I'm going to have to buy a new one or get some moves or something. But it was, I just always try to think of, I don't know, the dumbest shit that I can do on stage. And I never try and overthink. I don't try and like come up with too much pre-planned stuff, because I like to just come up with some stuff on the fly. And I think that's one of my favorite things about being in this band, is that like there's nothing that you can do that, similar to the style of music. Like we've set ourselves up. We're so like, we have so much fun on stage. There's nothing that I could do. I could literally like brown eye the crowd and talk through my ass, and people be like, classic.
That's Jack.
Classic. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's awesome. I love it. We don't take ourselves seriously, so that just gives us the freedom to do whatever we want. So I can't wait to actually see what we come up with on tour.
Okay, I'll get to see the first show too, so I'll be expecting
Hell
something.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now, before we let you go, bro, I've started up 3 new Spotify playlists based on artists that we speak to. So using your own songs, I want a song for a playlist to get the party started, one for a playlist that's going to save your marriage, and one for a playlist that could potentially end your marriage.
Get the party started, I would say 2 for this shit.
Yeah.
We're off the new album. Isn't out yet. Even though it's like an anti-party song, it's all about being like just I'm just too old, and it's actually like written really, really from the heart. You know, sometimes I'll go to a party and the music's just too loud, and I'll go up to the DJ and I'll be like, "Can we just turn it down a little bit?" Because, but I wrote it in a way where I wanted it to sound like it was like a real party song, and like, yeah, if you didn't hear the lyrics, you'd be like, "Man, yeah, this is a real get up and goer." But if you actually listen to the lyrics, it's just all about like, God, can you just turn that down and let's fucking go to bed? So I'd say that's my anti-party song. What was the other one?
I Save Your Marriage.
Music, Save Your Marriage. Let's see. Probably Simulate, I'd say. Just to save my marriage. It's the only one where I actually get to like use my vocals to the full extent, like actually sing properly and not be too wacky and silly and ridiculous. Or actually Actor Breeze, which is about a product that if you put it on your face, it makes you perfect. So yeah, if you feel like your missus isn't into you anymore, just put a little bit of Actor Breeze on your face, and mate, you look like everybody else. It's amazing.
I'll put it both.
And what was the other one? Just break.
One that could potentially end your marriage.
Oh, I'd say probably Drones. That's probably the darkest song we've got. Singing about being swinging like an elephant.
Could end someone's marriage, maybe not yours, but could end someone's.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Jack. Well, thanks for your time tonight, mate. It's been a pleasure finally getting to meet you, mate. The album Mixed Ape is
absolute pleasure.
The 4th, and she's an absolute ball terror. If you like Osaka Punch, you'll fucking love this. So, congrats, bro. And
thanks.
You're alone in your desert home, and now everyone that you loved is a pile of skin and bones. I don't wanna be so matter of fact, but if you call me out, then I will call you back.